I call upon Councillor Sue Graham to move the election of Councillor Paul Reynolds as Mayor of the Borough and the Chair of the Council for the ensuing municipal year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the last time. And distinguished guests and fellow councillors, I'm going to start this proposal speech with a bit of a warning to the Mayor's attendant, Foggy, affectionately known as Foggy anyway. The incoming Mayor, Councillor Paul Reynolds, has a few faults. He mislays things. He once held up a whole plane load of passengers because he'd lost his boarding pass. They were about to disembark the plane and take everybody's luggage off. When he found the boarding pass, it was tucked up the sleeve of his jacket. He was not the most popular person on the flight that day. So, Foggy, please keep your eye on that mayoral chain. He's also a bit accident prone. When he was at junior school, he got into trouble for talking during lunch and was made to stand against the wall. Messing around, he accidentally set off the fire alarm, leading to a full-scale evacuation during lunch. To this day, Paul claims that it was an accident, but all the children were convinced that he'd done it on purpose to avoid getting the cane. So, Foggy, don't let him near any buttons, please. And he goes walkabouts. We know this from when we were doing the canvassing in the last elections. But he started when he was only 4. He wandered off on his own, only to be picked up miles from home by a kindly lorry driver and returned to his frantic mum. So, Foggy, keep your eye on him at all times. It's also a warning to the lady mayoress. But he makes up for all these faults by his tremendous resilience and his determination to help others. Paul was born in 1966, one of 2 events that happened that year, in Bacup, not in Burnley. He was one of 6 children to a single mum, so life was pretty hard right from the start. The family moved to Burnley when Paul was 6, and they lived in Bleak House Estate, which, if most of us will know, it was a pretty challenging place to grow up in those days. Life was hard, and Paul did not really fare so well at school. He left formal schooling at 16 with no qualifications and worked in various labouring jobs until one day he decided that he wanted more out of life than a series of dead-end jobs. And this is what I most admire about Paul and anyone else who's faced this sort of challenge. He turned his life round and got educated. He put himself through an intense few years of study, gaining enough GCSEs and A-levels to enrol at university. And he did a BA in history and social policy. Paul achieved more in a couple of years intense study than most achieve in 10 years of formal schooling. Paul's degree dissertation was about Burnley during the Second World War, and he's maintained a keen interest in history ever since, and obviously Burnley. He tells me that one of the most profound trips he ever made was to Poland to visit Auschwitz, one of those memories that never leave you. He also reads extensively about ancient Rome and the history of India. So Paul's character shines out in the career path he's chosen since his degree. He helps others, especially children. He's both volunteered and worked for Sure Start and Children and Family Wellbeing Service. He's in his element with children. He uses his own life experiences to guide him in his work, helping other children who have not had the best start in life. I started this speech by recalling Paul's faults, such as they are, but his achievements have been extraordinary, coming from where he did, and his resilience and determination will stand him in good stead for the next 12 months. Paul has served Berkeley Ward, Lower House and Rosegrove areas of Burnley for more than 20 years. He's justly proud to achieve the honour of Mayor of Burnley, and he will relish these 12 months with humility and enthusiasm. I move that this council honours Councillor Paul Reynolds as Mayor of Burnley for the municipal year beginning today. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I call upon Councillor Mark Townsend to second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm honoured, delighted to have the privilege of seconding Councillor Reynolds' appointment as Mayor. I think during our time on the council, we pretty much shared the same time, and the time we've been on this council, and the work he's done many times in an understated way, representing the residents of his various wards. He's done diligently and effectively and in a quiet and serene way that goes very much unseen, probably to many people, but it's there, and many people value that contribution that Paul makes. He can now take that experience onto a much wider stage as Mayor, so people will get to know Paul and the work that he's done, and he'll find out much about other areas of the town and the work that goes on in his role as Mayor. So I know he will be a fantastic Mayor, as Councillor Graham has outlined in the moving speech, and I'm absolutely delighted to second his appointment and look forward to seeing his work during this coming municipal year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Members of the council only, will those in favour please say aye? Aye. Those against? I declare the motion carried.
Distinguished guests, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, please don't stand. Thank you. Paul Reynolds. Thank you.
Please be seated.
I call upon the Mayor, Councillor Paul Reynolds, to make the statutory declaration of acceptance of office.
I, Stephen Paul Reynolds, having been appointed to the office of Mayor of the Borough of Burnley, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I understand to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of the council. Is it an honour and privilege to be appointed Burnley's mayor? Thanks to all the town hall staff who have worked hard to make this day possible. This address is dedicated to 4 people: my mother May, sister Rena, brother Greg and brother-in-law Barry. Greg would have been 54 this Friday. They were always in my heart and they will always be in my mind. My mother, Mary Elizabeth, was brought up in an Irish Catholic family in Drogheda, come to England aged 16. Worked in the cotton mills, also worked behind the bar in the local pub near Bleak House. She brought up 6 children as a single mother, majority of the time being on benefits. Spent most of my childhood and teenage years growing up on Bleak House. Attended Cradley King's School and as a young person, St Theodore's and Wellington Hall. A school for boys with behavioural and emotional difficulties. As a family, and for myself personally, there were many challenges. Having to experience real poverty, being under social workers, and for myself, having a speech impediment and other challenges. Maybe because of our backgrounds, we all build up resilience. We never allow our background and circumstances to hold us back. It was difficult at times. We have all achieved many things over the years, the family. I am proud of all my siblings and my nephews and nieces for what they have achieved and will achieve. There will be problems and challenges to overcome that we will meet positively and realistically. We are all, without realising it, using the secret. And with a secret, you will never go wrong. I have not mentioned any of my family's name because to do so would take too long. We'll be here for ages. During my life, I have met people from all backgrounds. During working life at university, in the pubs and coffee shops in Burnley, in the Shawside Children's Centres and other family hubs. Always admired their straight talking, even when I had completely disagreed with what they had said and vice versa. I have always preferred talking to people face to face than through social media, because talking to people face to face is more genuine. For the past 27 years, as a volunteer and at the Children's Centre family hubs, I have always put children, young people first. Whether it is helping at the Family Disco West End, running infant massages classes at the family hubs, happy to run groups at schools or early years groups, not forgetting the holiday programmes, to name just a few of many. I have always been child-centred. I used to work for an organisation called ELAC and the Griffin, and they had a slogan which said, "Listen to the children, you may learn something." What I remember about growing up in Bleak House was the community spirit. People looked after one another. There were many challenges and disagreements which bring me to volunteers who, despite and because of the odds, helped improve their local communities. Through their dedication and commitment, they meet challenges head on. They turn these into opportunities. Burnley is a town of communities. Despite the impact of social media, I believe that this community spirit is very much alive in Burnley, the borough of Burnley. I have seen it for myself over 27 years at West End Community Centre, former Street and Horseshoe at Happy Faces Childcare and others. I am happy to see that a generation of young people are now involved at West End. These volunteers and others are what make Burnley tick. Yes, the town still has many challenges to overcome. I never looked at things through rose-coloured spectacles. Hope to meet some of those people who are the bedrock of Burnley during the mayor's year. I want to give thanks to the Mayor, Gil Barton, of who you gave as a childminder at the Children's Centre. She's a very hard-working person and will have a new role to keep her busy. Sometimes I wonder how she will fit it all in. Also, my niece Naya, a highly intelligent, independent young woman. They both speak their mind. I know that they will both keep me firmly on the ground and vice versa. The organisations that I have chosen for the May charity are the Pendleside Hospice, their cadets and community groups run by volunteers. A few of the community groups will be chosen. Sadly, I will not be able to help all community groups. We will be looking how they benefit young children and the elderly. More details on the above will be given during the next 12 months. I want to end the address by saying thank you to all those people who have helped me over the years and will do so in the future, because no one ever achieves anything without the help and yet criticism of others. They have taught me many lessons and will continue to do so in the future. Thanks for listening to this address. I now call upon Councillor Howard Baker to move a vote of thanks to the retiring Mayor, Councillor Shah Hussain, for his service during the past municipal year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Honoured guests, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councillors. It's a real honour to stand here today and offer a few words of thanks to our outgoing Mayor, Councillor Shah Hussain. Many of you will remember that Shah made history last year as the first Mayor of Burnley to come from Bangladesh, having been born in the village of Jalia. That in itself is a remarkable achievement and one that continues to inspire many in our town. I've had the pleasure of knowing Shah since he was first elected as councillor for Daneshouse and Stonyham, and I was delighted to be asked to give this vote of thanks. Over the past year, he has shown real authority and fairness in the council chamber, making sure that everyone had a chance to speak while still managing to slip in his own well-timed contributions. But Shah's mayoral year has been about much more than chairing meetings. His aim from the start was to make others feel valued, included and heard, and he achieved that, not just in this chamber, but throughout Burnley. Whether it was at community events, local schools, places of worship, or just chatting with residents, Shah brought warmth and sincerity to every occasion. He's been a popular and visible mayor. Now, whilst I believe most of what he tells me about his achievements, opening a new football pitch and gym in Stonyham, welcoming Taco Bell to town, etc., I'll admit I'm still a little sceptical about his claim to being responsible for getting the Clarets promoted back to the Premier League. On a more personal note, I know that Shah's father sadly passed away before he could see his son become mayor, and that this loss was deeply felt. But Shah, I can say with confidence that the way you've carried out this role has not only earned the respect of your fellow councillors and the people of Burnley, it has also made your family, and especially your late father, incredibly proud. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for your service, your dedication and your example. Well done, Shah, and thank you.
I call upon Councillor Mohammed Ishiak to second the motion.
It's not this one. Mine's on. No, it's not. Mine's.
Yeah, now it's on. Yeah, thank you. I think I missed the training session when these were installed, so I rely on Rangzeb Ali. It's a real privilege and heartfelt honour to stand here today as we look back and celebrate an incredible year for our Mayor, Councillor Shah Hussain, someone I'm proud to call not just our Mayor, but also my dear friend. A year ago, Shah made history, becoming Burnley's first mayor of Bangladeshi background. That wasn't just a title, it was a symbol of how far we've come as a town that values diversity, unity, and progress. From growing up in Bangladesh to building life here in Burnley, Shah's story is one of dedication and deep love for this community. As Mr. Mayor, Shah didn't just wear the chain, he carried the hopes and voices of people of Burnley. Whether it was supporting local projects, spending time with our young people, or proudly representing us at events, he did it with all warmth, humility, and care. One of the proudest moments this year was Burnley's promotion back to the Premier League, where we should always be. As there was Shah speaking at the celebration, standing with the team and our sound, sharing in that joy with passion and pride. He spoke from the heart and represented us all beautifully. Other highlights of this year, from town to turf opening, to the Eid card competitions in school, to his support for mental health, show just how committed he's been to making a difference. But what truly stands out about Shah is not just what he did, but how he did it, with kindness, approachability, and respect. To Shuli, Samina, Runa, and Kamran, thank you for standing with him this year. Behind every good mayor is a strong family. You've been part of this journey every step of the way. And now, as Shah's term comes to an end, today, we don't just say thank you, we say well done. You've led with honour, inspired many, and made Burnley proud. So let me finish with this. Thank you, Councillor Shah Hussain, our Mayor, our friend, and always a true servant of Burnley. Thank you. I second the motion.
The vote of thanks has been moved and seconded. Members of the council only, will those in favour please say aye. Those against? I declare the motion carried. I take great pleasure in presenting Councillor Shah Hussain, the mayoresses and consorts, with the ex-mayor, consort and mayoresses medallions. I now call upon Councillor Shah Hussain to reply to the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Honoured guest, honoured and distinguished guests, members, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It feels like only yesterday I stood before you with a deep sense of gratitude and a healthy dose of nerves as I accepted the great honour of becoming Mayor of Burnley. Today, I return with a full heart and a year's worth of stories, reflections, and unforgettable memories that have marked one of the most meaningful experiences of my life. This has been a year of celebration, of community spirit, of challenges met with resilience, and most importantly, a year of people. When I began my term, I pledged to shine a light on the unsung heroes of our borough, our superstars, and what an honour it has been to meet them. From the Girl Guides to the Scouts, from the Rotary Clubs to the Cadets, from local charities to faith groups, to our tirelessly public services and our cherished armed forces, everywhere I turned, I found passion, kindness, and a deep commitment to a place we call home. I visited churches where hymns were sung in solidarity with neighbours in need, mosques where food parcels were prepared with love, community centres where children were mentored, and the streets where people simply looked out for one another. These volunteers are the true heartbeat of Burnley. They expect no reward, no recognition, and yet, without them, our town would not function. If I were to list them all, we'd still be here tomorrow. They are, simply put, our everyday superstars or superheroes. To my mayoral team, I owe a special thanks. This role is rich in tradition and civic responsibility, but it cannot be done alone. Your support, your professionalism and dedication ensured the mayoralty didn't just function, but it flourished. Thank you for keeping the wheels turning behind the scenes while I go to be the one that cuts ribbons and makes those speeches. And what a year we've had, Councillor Baker. How can I forget the scenes outside the town hall and through the town centre when Burnley Football Club earned their rightful return to the Premier League? And if I say so, with a bit of luck from me. The sun shone brightly as thousands of fans, from toddlers to pensioners, filled our streets for the victory parade. The joy was palpable. For that day, we were all clarets, united in celebration, hope, and local pride. That sense of unity isn't just reserved for sporting triumphs. I've seen it time and again throughout my term, especially in times of adversity. When crisis knocks on our door, Burnley does not falter. It pulls together. We check in on our neighbours, we deliver food, we raise money, we wrap our arms around each other, and we get through it together. It's that community cohesion, that shared identity, that makes this borough truly special. Our business community, too, deserves applause. Under the umbrella of Burnley bondholders, our entrepreneurs, manufacturers, creative innovators helping to build a premier town for business. They're not just creating jobs, they are shaping Burnley's future. This year, we've seen local company and voluntary organisations receive the King's Award, the highest accolade in the country for enterprise and voluntary service and community service. That tells you all you need to know about the caliber of our people. But amongst the celebration and community spirit, there's also a cause for reflection. As many of you know, the structure of local government in Lancashire is under review. Reorganisation looms. There are whispers about devolution, combined authorities and unitary councils. And with those discussions comes questions about our identity, about the role of the mayor, about this very chamber as we're gathering today. So let me be clear, the role of the mayor matters. It is not a relic, it's a symbol of service, of unity, of civic pride. The mayor is the living, breathing thread that connects institutions to individuals. It is a role that sees, celebrates, and supports. And it must not be allowed to fade away in the name of some bureaucratic efficiency. This chamber, this town hall, should be preserved, not as a museum, but as a living institution. Recently, we invested public money to safeguard its future because we recognize its value, not just in bricks and mortar, but in heritage and heart. It is a place where Burnley's story is told and where new chapters begin. And we must protect it. Before I close, I must express my personal thank you to my family and my employer. Without their unwavering support, patience, and understanding, I could not have carried out the duties of mayor with the commitment it required. To my family, thank you for your love, your encouragement, for sharing this journey with me every step of the way. And to my employer, thank you for your flexibility, your belief in value of public service. Your backing allowed me to fully embrace this role, and for that I am deeply grateful. As I close this chapter of my own story, I do so with immense pride and even greater optimism. Our town is not perfect. No place is. But it's proud, it's principled, it's resilient, and brimming with potential. I began this journey invoking the memory of my late father, a man whose example guided my life and whose spirit has walked with me on every step of this mayoral journey. I hope I've done him and you all proud. To the residents of the borough, thank you for your warmth, your wisdom, your stories, and your steadfast belief in our borough. It has been an honour of my life to serve you. And finally, to the next mayor, walk boldly, serve humbly, enjoy every single moment, because this role is a privilege, a joy, and above all else, a duty of love. God bless you all, and may the borough, its towns and villages continue to prosper and be a safe haven for all its residents. Thank you.
I call upon Councillor Afishaf Anwar to move the election of Councillor Saeed Chaudhry to act as Mayor during my illness or absence for the period of my year of office.
I so move, Mr. Mayor.
I call upon Councillor Mohammed Ishiak to second the motion. Members of the council only, will those in favour please say aye? Aye. Those against? I declare the motion carried.
I call upon the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Saeed Chowdhury, to make the statutory declaration of acceptance of office.
I, Saeed Chaudhry, having been appointed to the office of Deputy Mayor of the Borough of Burnley, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfill the duties of it, according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of the members of the council. Thank you.
On behalf of the Mayor, I have the following announcements to make. The Mayor, Councillor Paul Reynolds, would like to invite you to Mayor at Home on Tuesday, 20th of May, 2025 at the Town Hall. The date of the Mayor's civic event and other mayoral events will be confirmed in due course. Thank you.
That concludes the business of the meeting. Thank you for your attendance. I would like to invite you all to join me for refreshments at the Inn on the Wharf. I then look forward to welcoming members of the council and any observers back to our council meeting at 6:30 p.m.
Distinguished guests, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding. Thank you.